Hi, my name is Joshua Petrucat, your host. Welcome to Hidden History, where we will talk about events in our history that are usually not covered in our textbooks. Today, I'm going to talk about the Philippine-American War. The Philippine-American War was a war between the U.S. and Filipino revolutionaries officially from 1899 to 1902. However, fighting really continued until 1913. After the Spanish-American War, the Treaty of Paris in 1898 was signed, which gave the U.S. control of the entire Philippines archipelago, Puerto Rico, and Guam, which were previously controlled by Spain. During the Spanish-American War, the Filipinos were told by the Americans that they would be granted independence after the war if they helped fight against the Spanish. They rebelled against Spain before, and they thought that their struggle for independence was similar to the American Revolution and the struggle for independence from Britain. So they believed that the Americans would understand and let them be a sovereign nation. The American Navy destroyed the Spanish Navy at Manila Bay in May 1898. In June, Emilio Aguinaldo, a Filipino leader, declared independence and set up a constitutional government. When the Spanish surrendered Manila, the Americans would not allow the Filipinos to enter the city, which caused tensions. In Manila, American soldiers entered people's homes without a warrant and stole goods from stores, which was parallel to the behavior of English soldiers in Boston in 1775. Since the Americans wanted to conquer the Philippines and they only had control of Manila while the rest was controlled by Filipino revolutionaries, conflict between the two parties was inevitable. The U.S. claimed that they were liberators in the Philippines, but they were really just trying to conquer it because of three main reasons. Number one, to have a military base in Asia where they could project American power. Number two, to have access to Asian markets where they could sell American products in places like China. Number three, to control natural resources of the Philippines such as rice, coffee, sugar, and tobacco. This is extremely ironic because America at that time was preaching about its democracy and self-determination, which means the right of all people to be independent and set up their own governments. The reality was that the U.S. wanted to be a world power and was practicing imperialism. This is part of the reason why we don't hear so much about this war. The other reason we don't hear much about this war is because of the way this war was conducted. In November 1901, a reporter for the Philadelphia Ledger who was in the Philippines wrote, "Our men have been relentless, have killed to exterminate men, women, children, prisoners and captives, active insurgents and suspected people from the lads of 10 up. The idea prevailing that the Filipino as such was little better than a dog." Letters from American soldiers who were there also revealed what was going on. Leonard F. Adams of the Washington Regiment wrote, "I don't know how many men, women, and children the Tennessee boys did kill. They would not take any prisoners." Fred D. Sweet of the Utah Light Battery wrote, "The scene reminded me of shooting jackrabbits in Utah. Only the jackrabbits sometimes got away, but the insurgents did not." Horrible racist terms were used by the Americans to describe the Filipino people. And President McKinley claimed that after praying to God, it came to him that the U.S. should take all of the Philippines to civilize them. Torture was also used, and sometimes innocent people were pulled out of villages and tortured to get information. Entire villages were destroyed and crops burned to starve people and to prevent them from helping Filipino soldiers. Concentration camps were set up for civilians, and many people were executed, and many more were starved to death and succumbed to disease. Aguinaldo was captured in 1901, and the war officially ended in July 1902. However, a guerrilla war known as the Moro Rebellion against the American imperialists occurred until 1913. The Philippine-American War was a conflict between the American imperialists and the Filipino nationalists who only wanted freedom. In our very own history book that we use for 8th grade U.S. history, the book has 1,171 words covering the Spanish-American War, which lasted 3 months and in which 400 American soldiers died. However, in the same history book, there are 164 words covering the Philippine-American War, which officially lasted 3 years, and if you counted the years of sporadic fighting after that, it was 11 more years. 4,000 American soldiers died, 20,000 Filipino soldiers died, and 250,000 Filipino civilians died. History is important since it teaches us to learn from our mistakes. It can help us become a better country and better people. However, if we ignore some parts of our history, we will not learn from these mistakes. Thank you for watching.